Me.
All right. Emily, you're running this one.
Okay. So we are going to call to order the meeting at 12:13 on December 9th, 2021. Let's do a quick roll call. Emily Doran here.
Bobby Hempling here.
Yep.
Pat Sheehan here.
Barrett O'Camber here.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. If we could move into public comment. Do we have anyone here for a public comment?
We'd love
No.
to hear from you.
Nope.
Okay. No public comment. No one online, correct? We have to remember to be asking that.
Nobody online.
Okay. So we'll move to the consent agenda. First item is discussion and possible action on the minutes from October 28th, 2021. This was the special RCDC meeting.
Yep. So we need a motion to approve. Right. So motion to approve the minutes.
Seconded.
Awesome. Approved. Then we'll move to the regular.
Vote real quick on that.
Yep.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Vote.
Just a voice vote.
Yep. Aye.
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 So the regular agenda is the discussion and possible action on a proposal from the retail coach for retail recruitment and development strategy. Anybody have any questions or feedback?
Yeah, the only questions I have regarding the proposal is more of the outreach. So we're obviously, as you can see, we're short-staffed. So I mean, I think we had talked about this last time. Is what does it look like to augment our staff, which is all volunteers, to begin that outreach and make sure we get the proper retail clients in. So how does that's really, I think, the biggest need we have.
Sure. So the proposal that's in front of you really is really the A to Z approach. So
Yep.
we really come in, especially smaller communities, we kind of act almost as an extension of your staff, if that makes sense, or
Yep.
even a staff member.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as us working together with city staff, we'll work closely with them, but we're doing the outreach. So we're
Yep.
going to be reaching out to property owners, available properties, potentially available properties. We'll be doing the outreach to potential retailers, restaurants, developers. So what I would need is city staff, once we get those meetings set up, if there's a need for y'all to join in on those meetings with us, that's where we would focus. So it's really not a whole lot from your board per se or staff that time needed initially, especially, but once we get an interested prospect, those sort of things, that's when we would bring y'all in.
Well, we have to pay for it, right? So that's actually where
What's that?
someone has to pay for your work.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that would be us.
Yes.
So there was actually a lot of involvement from RCDC.
So yeah, so RCDC, as far as actually funding the study and those sort of
Yeah.
things, but as far as day-to-day work, I don't really see any day-to-day work from the board per se. Now staff will work closely together. We have a project management system that will get set up next week, so that at all times you know what's going on. Typically we do monthly updates, or monthly staff updates, but those end up happening usually every 2 weeks. So anytime a prospect comes in or we talk to a prospect, they say, hey, we want to be in Rollingwood, then we're calling, and we'll be working closely with staff from that standpoint.
And this 15,000 pays for your time?
It does. So if you remember, 2 years ago now, about 2 years ago, we had done the corridor study,
Yep.
and this was that second phase. So we had worked closely with Amber on that, but then COVID hit, and it was one of those things where we said, hey, I don't think it's anybody's interest to really do any recruitment right now or focus on that. So Amber reached out to me several months ago and said, hey, I think it's time to start looking at this again. I agreed with her on that. So this is that phase 2 of the initial, I think the corridor study, if I recall, was 20,000. And then this was that next 15,000, that phase 2 that we had talked about.
So like, obviously for us, the ROI here is that we actually get businesses to come into the city.
Yes.
What if that doesn't happen? Is there a return policy?
There's not a return policy, but I will tell you, we are going to be keeping track of everything so thoroughly, and the retailers, the restaurants that show up as fits, we'll bring those to your board so y'all can look at those. In order for them to be a fit or to be a prospect, you have to fit their criteria. So their trade area, their demographics, you have to have sites that maybe fit what they're looking for, potentially have sites that what they look for. So I feel pretty good about this, that we're going to have success, but let's say we don't, and that's rarely ever happens. happened. We're gonna have kept track of every conversation we've had with retailers and restaurants. So we'll know why. Why did they say no? They're not coming, so that we can look. Are there things that need to be changed? Are there things that need to be, addressed in order to turn those no's into a yes?
And what is, sorry, go
I
ahead.
didn't listen closely enough. So it's 7,500 executions and 7,500 at 90 days. How far through the process will you be at 90 days before we pay that second tranche to?
So
Got it.
that's a good question. So our plan is to start recruiting immediately. So the end of December kind of gets iffy when we're talking to retailers and restaurants. So we'll probably, really start the official outreach. Like we've got to determine who the prospects are. We've got to run the data and those sort of things. But really we'll start outreach in January. So within 90 days, we'll have already done one to two outreach efforts to these retailers and restaurants. So we're pretty far along by that time anyways. So we'll know initially some what the interest level is there initially at that standpoint.
How does that differ from what like a retail developer would do?
Sure.
It's my only question. There's the retail corridor that we have, but I mean it's owned by a development company. So
Sure.
they're doing the same thing, right? So how does you're like an in-between of an in-between. So
Yeah.
just trying to understand that.
Absolutely. So typically brokers, developers, I don't want to say they go where the deals are the easiest, but they typically have multiple projects going on.
Right.
So it might have a project here, but they might have 10 others throughout the region. What we're able to do with our process is everything we're doing is specific to you. So we get to kind of choose and select, or y'all get to choose and select, if you will, who those prospects are.
Yep.
We're going to come back to you and say, look, these are the ones that fit. These are the ones that should be here. But then y'all can say, hey, this is not somebody we want to go after, or hey, will you take a look at this retailer and those restaurants? So we work from to benefit the city from y'all's standpoint, just not going after anybody and everybody.
So we get
Basically,
one.
you're
we
like
get,
our Bumble matchmaker.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
mean, basically, right? I
We
mean,
get-
if we break it down, like you're finding our matches, and then we decide as a community and as a city, like, do we want to proceed or not?
And then from
Absolutely.
a direct standpoint, right? We get 1 cent off every dollar. Isn't that right? Or no, a fraction of a cent. Sorry.
Half cent.
Yeah.
We get a half cent.
It's a half cent.
So we need.
Well, the city also picks up.
One
and a
another
half.
half. Yeah, another
Yeah.
one and a
I'm
half.
just trying to think through roughly right now in the head of we would need.
I mean,
How
typically
much
reimbursement
sales
wise, if we can land one retailer or one restaurant, it pays for itself in the first year.
Right.
So
Correct.
Yeah.
that's typically from a
And
return standpoint.
From our standpoint, though, it would be because of the way we're currently developed. We're actually probably looking at more of a 3 to 5 year window, I would think, only because our current retail footprint is one where we have Trader Joe's in that area,
Mhm.
which you can essentially have one big box or one Trader Joe's.
Sure.
But everything else is pretty much strip malls. I mean, maybe that's not the right word for it.
Sure.
But it's single story rows.
Yeah.
So someone's gonna have to buy, develop, and then. But I mean, I think long term that makes sense. It's just.
So I think I
trying to
looked
think of
at
what
What's
that-
available right now?
so I
Yeah.
How much
I
square
haven't.
footage?
So it's been
2
2
years,
full
right.
years since we've done a full analysis on the corridor and what's available. But when I talk to the shopping center owners, there's a number of your prospects, or a number of your not prospects, a number of your existing spaces that are on 1 year leases. So if there was another retailer, another restaurant that could come in, they could fill these in pretty quickly. So although it might, as you drive down the corridor there, I mean, there are some real estate signs up that there is
Yeah.
space available.
Right.
There's also space available that might not look like it, or there might not be a sign up for that. Again, you've got
Because
1
of
year
the short-term.
short-term leases. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'd be better to have a 5 year, 10-year lease tenant in there making more sales.
Do the landlords / developers, do they contribute to y'all if you bring them a client as well?
We are solely paid by the municipality or the development corporation. We get asked that question a lot, and for us, it becomes a conflict of interest. So we just have stayed out of that part of it.
You say, here's a space. If y'all want to figure it out, figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get the retailer interested. They're gonna tell us, hey, we need 1,500 square feet. Then we're gonna say, hey, here are the 5 1,500 acre, or not 1,500, but 1,500 square feet sites that you could fit. And then we'll actually walk that developer. I mean, we'll take it as far as we can, and then they'll have to negotiate the prices and those.
Can we get? I don't know if for a vote or not, but can we get multiple references from cities that have been successful with you?
Sure. We've already submitted like
Yep.
10 in the past, and we can submit plenty more, but no problem.
And, particularly the ones that aren't successful.
Yeah, and I don't know of, I mean, maybe one in the past that hasn't been successful. I mean, our repeat client rate's 99%.
Yes.
So,
Are you all involved with Kyle?
so Kyle is a client of ours. They've been a client.
So
Off and
tell us
on.
what happened down there as far as the
Yeah.
restaurant recruitment of Z Tejas and the tax abatement.
So we were not involved in that part of it. We've been
Okay.
involved in the past with them. We're not currently involved with them. Buda has been a client for ours. Dripping Springs is a client. Bee Cave is a current client of ours right now. We're working on the gallery, working with Bee Cave to lease that up. But I mean, just so y'all know, and we can get you a list of references, but 5 million square feet of retail that we've recruited in the last 5 years, and that's in Texas. So when I say recruited, we were the first contact. So from the city standpoint, we were the first reaching out to P. Terry's or whoever it was to get them to that market. So that's kind of where our success lies, if you will.
So we get $15,000 for 90 days is essentially the contract, right?
12 months, 15,000 for 12 months.
It's the second.
You pay it up.
Yeah.
You pay over the next 90 days.
And I'm happy if
So
y'all
we
want us to
We get essentially
move that out.
we get an employee for 15K.
Right,
What it comes out to.
basically.
I mean, maybe
It's-
not full FTE, but like it's at least someone reaching out on behalf of
Right.
Rollingwood. What percent
Which is pretty
of time
reasonable.
is allocated to Rollingwood versus others?
I haven't broken it down specifically for this project. I can. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
we're
just
also.
I'm trying to think of the incentive, right? Like
Yeah.
what is the
So we have, if you look, so we have 5 employees that will be this. We'll have a team that'll work on this project. I'll be the project lead. I can tell you, I'm spending. I'll spend at least 10 hours a week specific to Rollingwood. That's just personally me. And then we have other staff that are doing this. The other thing I was going to mention, we keep track of everything in a system called Airtable. Now I went through it with Amber on that, but y'all are going to have access at all times to see what retailer, that's where we keep track of everything. So if you're interested and we're trying to recruit XYZ restaurant, you're going to have that. You're going to have access to
We'll
that.
almost see like your CRM.
Yeah, that
of
we
what
keep,
you're doing.
It's a CRM project. It's a CRM process where we keep track of all
Okay.
of that. So every conversation, whether it's a phone call, an email, a meeting we have with them in person, we do that. The other thing I think y'all will be, that I know that when we talked about this 2 years ago, y'all were interested in, there's these trade shows that we go to, or these conferences
Yeah.
called Retail Live and ICSC, or International Council of Shopping Centers. There's 3 of them that we will hit on y'all's behalf this year. So, or this coming year. So you've got ICSC that's happening in Dallas in February. And then we've got Retail Live that'll be September, in August or September here in Austin. And then ICSC again in May. So that's the other part of it, is we're actually going to take Rollingwood and represent y'all at conferences and in front of retailers, which is something that has
Yeah.
never happened
Right. Well, and
before.
I think if we look back at what we need in order to bring a company, I mean, a restaurant or a business here to town, if we have the expertise of them saying these are the viable options, I think that's a great thing to then go take out to the community to say, here are viable options.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is a good first step, right?
Yeah.
Like, we haven't done this in the past. We've sat on
Yeah.
God knows how much money, and that's
Can I,
not an
I'd
exaggeration.
like to do a motion.
Yeah, let's do that.
Great. I'd like to, motion to approve the proposal from the retail coach for retail recruitment and development strategy for RCDC.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
All in favor,
Yeah.
say
Aye.
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 Motion
Awesome. So we're excited about it. I'll get all that
Yep.
CRM and project management stuff set up. We'll touch base
Thank you, Aaron.
tomorrow, next week.
Yeah, we'll work
Get
through it.
set up.
We
So,
really appreciate
hey,
it.
we're excited. And
Yeah.
I will get y'all, though, I have for you, because you asked about it, I have our statement of qualifications.
Yep.
And it lists all of our clients and all that. I'll get
Yeah.
y'all that so you have it.
Thank you so much.
So, yeah, hey, really excited
Merry
about
Christmas
this.
and Happy New Year.
Yeah, same to y'all. Thank you.
See you in the new year. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
What is
So
the
looking at it, we need about $750,000 worth of rental or tax revenue
Yep.
to pay it off for the city, and almost $3 million worth of tax revenue to pay the RCDC back. But it's
yeah, but
the
you gotta
soft
look at this
benefits
as like
that come
almost
with
a
it.
long-term,
Yeah, I mean,
like
this is,
Yeah.
like a long-term value of a client,
Right.
right? So like that's kind of
Well, and let's,
It's
I
like a
mean, it
building
makes the
block.
city better as
yeah.
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it also probably increases the value of the land where
Right.
they're gonna do
Totally.
So
it.
there's a
We'll get
lot.
more property
Right.
taxes down the
Yeah.
road.
And we all know there's certain properties that we know we want to eventually over time they'll turn over and think about how we could, what we could put in there. Okay, cool.
Pat's getting emotional.
so update, item number 4, is that, can we punt that to next week or?
We'll push that to next meeting.
Next meeting,
Abel and I weren't able to get together and get an accurate amount for you guys
Sounds
on that
good.
one.
Number 5, the Zilper Park discussion and possible action. I feel like we should probably punt that to the next meeting.
We're still funding like defense for, well, not defense for the
No,
Zilper
this
Park.
is the
for-
Zilper Park.
Right,
Mission
this
Plan.
is different.
Yeah.
This is Zilker Park. This was I think we sent out the link
Yep.
and the stuff. It's in the packet as well. Our hopes, and I think the city council's hopes, was just that you guys would kind of review it and see how you felt it was going to impact our commercial corridor. So we have kind of some info to go on a statement or official comment from the city for
Can we do that
the
in
proposal.
January?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think that's great.
let's
We
make
can
that
push
a-
it.
For
Well,
sure.
the open, so just one point on that. The open comment period, I think, ends in like a week, right? For the,
Are you thinking about South Mopac? I'm
Yes,
getting them.
I actually am, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Different, that's
that's
different.
that's a separate
Sorry.
one. Y'all
Yeah.
actually have that budgeted already,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we're already actively using those, and the city council
Okay,
is
perfect,
directing
sorry.
that. Sure.
Okay, so 5 and 6 will table for January meeting. So number 7, discussion regarding intent to continue serving on RCDC board.
This is for all of our members whose terms are expiring in December, and there's a list in the packet if somebody has that up.
I have
I
it.
do.
So I'm just looking for kind of a verbal from everyone who is expiring or isn't either, that they intend to continue, and then at the next city council meeting, they'll be making a blanket reappointment, or considering that, new appointments, that kind of thing. So just wanted to see if everyone was still interested, and we could put their name in for reappointment.
Emily, yes.
Barry, yes, but I would not like to, just be clear, I would not like to be an officer. So, I meant like, I don't want to be president. It's a lot of,
Okay.
that's all I meant. I feel like the city needs new leadership from the president's standpoint.
Well, that's kind of something we re-elect
know.
each year, so we can do that
I
in
know.
January. We
I'm-
can,
Just want that to be clear.
He wants to be very
you might
clear.
get nominated again, and
Yeah.
you maybe don't have a choice,
Nope.
but.
I think after everything else that's happened the past year and a half, new leadership is in order. But I'm
Oh
happy
my
to serve for
goodness.
RCDC.
All
Okay,
right.
Pat,
I
you're
want to go on the
to-
record and say I think you do a great job,
I was gonna say,
President.
I think you've done a great job on the record. I'm proud of your
Makes
leadership.
makes
Bobby
one of us.
Hempling, yes.
All right.
Pat Sheehan, yes.
All right. Well, great.
Rebecca's the only one.
Rebecca is not going to be
Okay.
continuing, and
Yeah.
then Becky Kittleman, also we have her
Right.
vacancy, so those will both be going to council. And then I'll email David Smith and make sure he's also interested, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Okay.
And that's all we have.
Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Adjourned at 12:31. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Thanks for coming, Pat.
Thank
Sorry
you,
I was
Pat.
late.
No, I'm